Hello and welcome. I am so excited to share today's episode with you because if you've been doing everything you thought would help for your health, clean eating, your movement, supplements, even mindfulness, but something still feels off in your body, this is for you because your body isn't confused and it's not sabotaging you and you're not out of alignment because you're undisciplined, too emotional, or inconsistent. And what you're feeling, well, it's not random. It's information. Your symptoms are signals, physical, mental, and emotional, that are trying to get your attention. And today, we're going to talk about what it really looks like when your body stops keeping up with your ambition, why all the right things haven't worked, and how you can begin to see your symptoms not as something to manage or the enemy, but actually as a conversation that your body has been trying to have with you for weeks, months, and maybe even years. Let's get into it. You've done everything right, clean eating, supplements, every protocol you could find, and still you're exhausted, stuck in brain fog, and your digestion is unpredictable. These symptoms aren't random. They're signals your body has been trying to send, but no one taught you how to read them. I'm Tasha Miller, and this is the Natural Health Solutions Podcast. This is where ambitious women stop guessing and finally start understanding their body with clarity. So let's talk about what this actually feels like in real life. You wake up, maybe you're not refreshed, but you are actually determined. You get your family out the door, maybe squeeze in a workout, maybe not. You are probably going to maybe drink some tea, a coffee, or that adrenal drink that promised more energy on Instagram. And you look at your calendar and all of a sudden the weight just hits you. Before you've even started, the day already feels heavy and you move through your list. You try to stay focused, but the brain fog, it comes. You reread the same sentence. You forget what you walked into the room for, and you know that you're capable, but your mind feels like, well, it feels like an internet buffering. You know, when you watch those videos on YouTube and it's like, oh my goodness, I've got to turn it down to 144. And it's not just the brain fog, it's the fatigue. You didn't pull an all-nighter last night. You didn't run a marathon, but somehow your body feels like you did. And by 2:00 in the afternoon, you're looking at the clock like it should be bedtime, and you keep pushing because ain't nobody got time to sit around and do nothing. And that's what you've always done. But lately, pushing is costing you more. And then there's digestion. Bloating after simple meals, that uncomfortable fullness that doesn't match what you ate. Your waistband feels tight after lunch when you just had soup. Or on the flip side, unpredictable bathroom habits that leave you constantly guessing, what's today going to bring? And let's not ignore the emotional layer of all this, because you might snap when you didn't mean to, or you feel reactive over small things, or maybe you go numb, powering through, disconnected, getting things done without really feeling present, even with yourself. And what makes it harder is from the outside, you look fine, you're high functioning, you're managing because you're the reliable one in your work, your family, and your community. But inside, it feels like you're quietly falling behind, like your body is no longer on your team. And you've Googled, you've had tests, you've tracked, you've adjusted 50 million times, you've tried everything from probiotics to productivity hacks, and still the brain fog, the fatigue, the gut struggles, the short fuse, well, they're still there. And so the question keeps surfacing in your mind, at least this was me. And I kept saying to myself, why isn't this working? Why do I still feel off? Why is my body not cooperating with me? And you know what? Here's what most plans, protocols, and experts miss, and even Google. You were never meant to follow someone else's blueprint. You were meant to understand your own. And the symptoms that you've been managing or pushing through, they're not random. They're not a sign that you're doing something wrong. They're your body's way of guiding you back to balance. But if the lens that you've been using wasn't made for your biology, of course it hasn't worked. It's like walking out of a massive mall with your bags and realizing that the directions someone gave you were for a completely different exit. And you're standing in the parking lot, retracing the steps they mapped out, but nothing looks familiar. And every turn you take goes farther and farther from where you actually parked. And you start to question everything, even though you know you should be close to your car. And that's what it feels like to follow all the, quote, right steps when those steps weren't built for your body. And in what I do, I help women read the signals that their body is sending through a lens of body types, not personality types, not trends, and definitely not one-size-fits-all plans or generic fixes. These body types reflect how your system uniquely responds to food, stress, rest, movement, stimulation, even the environment that you actually live in, and even the pace of your day. And while you carry elements of all of them, it's the order, the hierarchy that makes you biologically distinct from your friend down the street or the person that you work with. And there are 3 distinct body types that make you up as a whole. The first one is the visionary type. When in balance, you're light, quick, bright, and intuitive, very creative, but you can get easily scattered or depleted. Then there's the driver type, sharp, focused, energetic, but really prone to burnout, urgency, and tension. And then there's the anchor type, who is steady, grounded, and nurturing, but can feel really heavy, foggy, or stuck when they're overwhelmed. And you're not just one of these, you're actually a unique blend. And when that blend goes out of sync, your body's going to tell you. And that's when your symptoms start to show up, not as punishment, but as patterns. The bloating that won't go away no matter what you eat, the brain fog that derails your morning before it begins, that fatigue that sneaks in before 10 a.m., even if you slept all night, the emotional edge that makes little things feel big. You might end up crying that day. You might end up snapping on someone you didn't mean to. And the digestive chaos, running to the bathroom some days, completely blocked up on other days. The irritability that surfaces when you push through one more task, even though your body's already said enough. And most wellness plans only address one layer. It's kind of like putting a Band-Aid on a compound fracture. It's going to stop the bleeding, but it's not actually going to fix the bone that's broken. And what they do is they treat your symptoms like problems to fix instead of signals to understand. But when you start to see the patterns, when you know what foods settle your system instead of aggravate it, and which ones quietly drain it, why habits like skipping meals or pushing through fatigue, basically it unravels your capacity for living on a daily basis, and how early signs like sighing more or jaw tension or restlessness are actually your body waving a little flag saying, hey, we're slipping out of sync here. And that's when everything changes. You stop trying to keep up with your life and you start creating a rhythm that actually supports your real capacity. So it's not about more rules. It's not about another reset or checklist or an app to track every bite and every step. We've all done that. I've done that. Nobody wants to do that. But what it is about, it's about learning to read your body's language, not just tracking data or following rigid steps, but really understanding what your body is saying. And it actually reminds me of my second oldest daughter when she was little. And if you're a mother, I know that you're going to understand this. She didn't really speak in full sentences until she was probably about 4. She sang a lot of her words. You know, she'd look at the ceiling. She'd sing about the ceiling. She'd sing about her bed, her dolly. She used movements, expression, the way she touched things, the way she held her body. That's how she communicated. And I could understand her, not because the words were clear that she was speaking, but because I had learned her. I watched her. I listened for the patterns. I paid attention to the cues, and I could literally interpret her signals in ways no one else could because I took the time to truly understand how she was wired. I remember one time I was at my mother-in-law's and she said, I don't know what she's saying. She keeps saying, where's my heaps? Where's my heaps? And I said, oh, she's looking for her sheeps. She said, are you kidding me? She's been saying this for 6 months and I never knew what it was. And so if you've ever been able to understand your child, that's what it feels like when you finally learn how to read your own body. At first, it doesn't speak clear instructions, just like we have to learn with our children. It speaks in rhythm, sensations, resistance, cravings, fatigues, and emotions. And when you understand that, when you can read that, you don't need to chase answers anymore. You don't need to overhaul your life. You just need the right lens to look through, the one that lets your next step feel obvious, not overwhelming. If everything you've tried hasn't worked the way you'd hoped, it's not that you need another plan. It's that no one ever gave you a way to truly understand your body, and understanding changes everything. It gives you the ability to move through your day without constantly second guessing, to know what throws you out of imbalance and how to gently bring yourself back, to recognize, well, this symptom, it means this, and here's how I can fix it. It's not perfect, but it is personal and it's so powerful. And that's the kind of clarity I want you to have. And it's what I'm building behind the scenes, resources, tools, and support that I've designed specifically for ambitious, motivated women like you who are done guessing. So if you want to be the first one to know when that is released, I'd love to invite you to join my newsletter at tashamiller.co/newsletter. And the link will be down in the show notes. No pressure, just an invitation to stay in the loop, so that when the time comes, you're ready and the right support is waiting. Thank you for joining me today, and I will see you next week. Thank you for spending time with me today. If you enjoyed this episode, tap follow and leave a 5-star review down below. I read every single one, and it helps more women find this podcast. If you want to keep the conversation going, head to tashamiller.co for resources, offers, and all the ways to connect with me.